Imagine a planet of abundance. 97% of its surface is water. A planet that lives and breathes because of water, where every heartbeat, every growing leaf, every cloud in the sky is a manifestation of a single substance, H2O. That planet is Earth, our home. And across its every corner, from the highest mountain peaks to the most barren deserts, one question whispers: will this water, our very source of life, last forever? Every day we turn on the tap. The water flows instantly, clean, cool, and ready to drink. We never stop to ask, where does this water come from? Why doesn't it run out? And most importantly, is this abundance just an illusion? We live under the assumption that water is an infinite resource, a natural inheritance that will always be there. Yet behind that simple assumption lies a complex truth that we rarely see. Deep beneath the ground we walk on, within geological layers millions of years old, there's a giant, intricate system that stores, moves, and delivers water to us through a phenomenon we call a spring. The question of water's availability isn't about how much water exists on this planet, but how much clean, accessible water we actually have. And the answer to that question is far more complicated than we could ever imagine. This is the story of our lifeblood, a story that might just change how we see the world forever. To understand the future of water on the surface, we must first dive into its past, a silent, epic story unfolding deep within the Earth's crust. We all know the water cycle. Rain falls, it flows into rivers, evaporates, and forms clouds again. But that's only half the story. The most vital and most mysterious part of this grand journey happens right beneath our feet. As raindrops fall from the sky, they begin a soundless adventure. They don't just sit on the surface. They soak into the ground in a process called infiltration. This is where the magic of natural purification begins. Those tiny droplets of water interact with the soil, filtering through layer after layer of sand, gravel, and porous rock. Imagine a gigantic ancient filter made of millions of tons of earth itself. As the water passes through, it leaves behind dirt, bacteria, and other contaminants, becoming progressively cleaner and clearer. The soil becomes a silent guardian, purifying the very water we will one day drink. The deeper the water seeps, the purer it gets. This journey doesn't stop at the surface layers. The relentless pull of gravity draws the water deeper still, through tiny cracks and pores in the rock until it finally hits a barrier. This barrier isn't a wall, but a layer of impermeable rock or clay, a dense, non-porous bedrock that water cannot pass through. This impervious layer becomes a kind of underground dam, forcing the water to stop and collect. Above this layer, in the empty spaces of the rock and sand, the water begins to fill every single pore and crevice, creating a colossal reservoir. This is what we call an aquifer. An aquifer isn't a literal underground lake. Rather, it's a porous rock layer saturated with water. Think of it as a massive subterranean sponge capable of holding trillions of liters of water, stretching from beneath our cities to under the most desolate deserts. Some aquifers, like the Ogallala Aquifer in the United States, are so immense they could cover entire continents and hold water that is tens of thousands of years old. They are the heart of our planet's freshwater system, a vast ancient bank of water created by an incredible, slow-moving geological process. But not all aquifers are the same. Some are open and easily replenished by surface water. These are called unconfined aquifers. Others are trapped, sandwiched between two layers of impermeable rock. These are known as confined aquifers. The water inside confined aquifers is under immense hydrostatic pressure. This pressure is what plays a crucial role in creating the phenomenon we know best. After being stored and purified for thousands of years, the water within the aquifer seeks a way out. The immense pressure from the water above and around it forces it to move wherever there's a crack or a fault line. And this is the grand finale of the journey. When this aquifer layer meets the Earth's surface at a hillside, in a valley, or a fault line, the trapped water is naturally forced out. This flow can be a slow, steady trickle or a powerful gush of water. This is a spring. A spring isn't just a flowing body of water. It's a statement from the Earth itself. Here is the water I have stored and cleaned for you. It's a simple phenomenon that is the result of a complex, patient, and unimaginably long geological process. Every time we see a crystal-clear spring, we are witnessing the culmination of a secret journey that began long before we existed. And this story, which started with a single raindrop, continues to sustain our modern world. Springs are more than just small, picturesque streams in the countryside. They are the silent architects of many of the world's most vibrant ecosystems, and the very cradles of human civilization. If aquifers are the Earth's subterranean water banks, then springs are their ATMs, dispensing pure water with a constant flow. But their role goes far deeper than that. Springs are the foundation, the pulse, and the very heart of life on this planet. For thousands of years, springs have been the great arbiters of human history. Ancient civilizations, from Mesopotamia to Rome, were built around a reliable source of water. Cities like Damascus, one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities on Earth, were founded near natural springs. They were a gathering point, a place of trade and a hub of social activity. The Romans, with their incredible engineering prowess, built colossal aqueducts to carry water from distant springs in the hills to their urban centers, allowing massive populations to flourish. Without the steady, life-giving flow from these sources, many of the civilizations we study today might never have existed. Springs didn't just provide water, they enabled agriculture to thrive, hygiene to improve, and commerce to expand, quite literally shaping the foundation of human history. But their role is far vaster than their service to humanity. Springs are unique and irreplaceable habitats. The ecosystems that depend on them, often called spring ecosystems, are biodiversity hotspots. The water emerging from an aquifer has a very specific and stable set of characteristics. Its temperature is relatively constant year-round, and its mineral content is unique. These conditions create the perfect environment for rare species that cannot survive anywhere else. You can find endemic fish that live in only a single spring, or rare aquatic plants that require these precise conditions to thrive. Springs act as ecological anchors, maintaining balance and biodiversity in the midst of an otherwise harsher and more fluctuating environment. On a larger scale, springs are the major arteries of the planet's hydrological system. They are the source of many of the great rivers and lakes we know. A river's mighty flow often begins with the small, consistent trickle from a spring high in the mountains. Springs act as natural regulators, ensuring that these rivers don't run dry during prolonged droughts. When the rains stop, springs continue to flow, keeping river ecosystems alive, providing water for wildlife, and allowing life to persist. Imagine a vast arid desert. In the midst of that dryness, an oasis emerges, a lush point of life in a sea of sand. That oasis is almost always formed around a spring. Water from a confined aquifer finds its way to the surface, dramatically transforming the surrounding environment. It allows palm trees to grow, fertile soil to form, and provides a crucial watering hole for animals crossing the desert. Oases are living proof of the transformative power of springs. The quality of spring water itself also has its own special characteristics. During its long journey through the aquifer, this water isn't just physically filtered, it's also mineralized. It dissolves trace minerals from the rocks it passes through, like calcium, magnesium, and potassium, which often give it a distinct flavor and potential health benefits. That's why water from specific springs is often considered to have superior quality, and is the primary reason behind the popularity of bottled mineral water. In a very real sense, springs are not just water. They are the silent witnesses to human history, the incubators of life for unique species, and the steady pulse that maintains the balance of global ecosystems. Their true value lies not just in the water they provide, but in the fundamental role they play in shaping and sustaining life on Earth. They are a constant reminder that beneath the seemingly still surface, there is an intricate and beautiful system at work, ensuring that we, and all other life, can continue to thrive. Up to this point, we've seen how incredible the system of springs and aquifers truly is. A system that has worked flawlessly for millions of years, replenishing, purifying, and distributing the water that sustains all life on this planet. You might be thinking, if this system is so reliable, why should we worry? This is the most critical and sobering part of our story. The illusion of a permanent, endless supply of water, a gift that will never expire, is slowly but surely beginning to crack. And behind the beautiful, crystal-clear flow of a spring, 3 colossal threats are lurking. Threats that don't come from nature, but from ourselves. The first and most immediate threat is over-extraction. For millennia, humans used water at a sustainable pace in balance with the aquifer's natural recharge. But in the last century, with the explosion of the global population, industrialization, and modern agriculture, the demand for water has skyrocketed. We are no longer waiting for water to flow naturally from a spring. We are actively pumping it out of the aquifers at a pace far exceeding what nature can replenish. Imagine an aquifer as a massive underground lake that is only refilled by the slow trickle of rainwater seeping down. Now imagine we've put thousands of giant pumps into that lake, sucking water out with a fire hose to irrigate our farms, supply our factories, and provide for our megacities. The natural refilling process takes centuries, even millennia, while we are emptying it in a matter of decades. A prime example of this catastrophe is the Ogallala Aquifer in the United States, one of the world's largest. Over the past several decades, it has been massively over-extracted to support vast agricultural operations. Scientists predict that if this continues, large parts of the aquifer will run dry within just a few decades, leading to unprecedented drought and devastating consequences for millions of people. The effects aren't just a loss of water. They also include land subsidence, where the ground above the aquifer sinks, permanently altering the landscape and causing severe infrastructure damage. The second threat is pollution. The water in an aquifer is protected from surface contamination for thousands of years, but it's not invincible. Industrial waste, pesticides, and fertilizers from farming, leaking landfills, and overflowing septic tanks. All of these seep into the ground. These toxic chemical particles follow the same path as rainwater, slowly contaminating the aquifer. And what's most terrifying is that this pollution is almost impossible to clean. Once an aquifer is contaminated, it can take centuries, even millennia, for the water to be pure again, if it ever is. Water that was filtered and purified by nature for thousands of years can be rendered unusable in a matter of days. The third threat, which accelerates the first two, is climate change. Global warming is altering rainfall patterns around the world. In many places, rainfall is becoming more extreme and erratic. This means longer periods of drought, which put even more pressure on groundwater as we pump more to compensate. When the rain does come, it's often in intense storms, causing more water to run off the surface as floods rather than slowly seeping into the ground to recharge the aquifers. This creates a vicious cycle. Drought leads to more pumping, while climate change reduces the aquifer's ability to refill. This is the climax of our story. The water system that has sustained us for millions of years is on the brink of collapse. The springs we once viewed as an eternal gift are, in fact, not eternal at all. The abundance of water we enjoy today may be nothing more than a dwindling inheritance that we are spending without a thought for the future. The simple question, will the water last forever, is no longer the right one. It has been replaced by a more urgent and terrifying question. How long do we have before we reach the point of no return? Every drop of water that flows today is a reminder that the clock is ticking, and the time to act is now.
After understanding the scale of the threats looming over our clean water sources, it's easy to feel a sense of despair. But our story doesn't end there. While the challenges we face are immense, we are not pioneers walking in the dark. All around the world, scientists, engineers, and communities are already hard at work to find solutions. Our biggest challenge isn't about finding a solution, it's about our collective will to implement them. The solution to this clean water crisis must be comprehensive, involving cutting-edge technology, smart policies, and a fundamental shift in our daily habits. First, let's talk about technological and engineering solutions. One of the most promising methods is managed aquifer recharge, MAR. Instead of letting rainwater run off and go to waste in floods, MAR systems collect, treat, and inject that water back into the aquifer. It's like recharging Earth's natural battery, ensuring our subterranean water reserves don't run dry. In California, MAR systems are already being used to replenish depleted aquifers, helping to maintain water availability in one of the world's most vital agricultural regions. Furthermore, wastewater treatment technology has advanced to an incredibly sophisticated level. Water that was once considered waste can now be recycled and purified to a quality that is safe for drinking. This is a new paradigm, where we're not just taking water from natural sources, but creating a sustainable man-made water cycle. In Singapore, the Knowverse technology turns treated wastewater into high-quality drinking water, which now accounts for a significant portion of their water needs. It's living proof that we can reduce our reliance on finite aquifers and springs by using a resource we already have. Second, we need smarter policies and management. The water problem isn't just an engineering problem, it's a governance problem. Governments and water management agencies must take an active role in protecting aquifers from over-extraction. This can be done by creating regulations that limit the amount of water that can be pumped from an aquifer. especially in water-intensive sectors like agriculture and industry. Pricing mechanisms for water can also be adjusted to incentivize conservation. When water becomes more valuable, we are all more likely to cherish and use it wisely. It's also crucial to protect recharge areas, the regions where rainwater seeps into the aquifers. These areas must be shielded from development and pollution so that the aquifers can continue to be refilled with clean water. Turning these lands into green spaces or urban parks can be a win-win solution, both for the environment and for our water reserves. Third, and most crucially, is the role of individuals and communities. The biggest solutions don't always come from technology or governments. They come from the small changes each of us makes. We can start at home by conserving water. Fixing a leaky faucet, using water mindfully while showering, or collecting rainwater for plants. These are simple actions that, when multiplied by millions of people, can have a monumental impact. At the community level, we can support sustainable agriculture and more efficient irrigation methods. We can also get involved in local water conservation programs, like cleaning up local rivers or planting trees in recharge areas. By becoming conscious consumers and proactive citizens, we can put pressure on decision-makers to create better policies and support sustainable solutions. Ultimately, this water crisis is not an unavoidable fate. It is a challenge we can overcome with knowledge and will. Technology gives us the tools, policy gives us the framework, and individual action gives us the power. All of these solutions lead to one common goal: protecting and managing the aquifers and springs that have been the heartbeat of our clean water system for millions of years. If we learn from the past, embrace the innovations of the present, and act with a sense of shared responsibility, then the question, will the world's water last forever, will have a far more optimistic answer. We have the power to change the ending of this story.
The story of springs and aquifers isn't just a lesson in geology. It is a profound mirror reflecting our relationship with the natural world. A spring is a testament to nature's generosity, but also a stark reminder of the fragility of the very systems that sustain us. Every time you drink a glass of clean water, remember that it may have traveled a millennia-long journey deep within the earth, filtered, stored, and finally delivered to you. It doesn't belong to you alone. It belongs to this planet, and it is a legacy we are tasked to protect for generations to come. The question, world's water enough forever, doesn't have a simple answer. The answer is in our hands. If we continue to take without giving back, to pollute without a care, then the answer is no. But if we choose to honor and protect this lifeblood, then there is hope. The springs will continue to flow as long as we continue to value every single drop. The story of water is just one of the countless mysteries and wonders of science that exist all around us. And here at Knowverse Science, we are committed to unraveling them for you. If you want to keep exploring the secrets behind the universe, technology, and the world we live in, make sure you don't miss our next video. Subscribe now and hit the notification bell to continue your journey of knowledge with the rest of the Knowverse community.